everyone, I hope you're doing well. Here's a video from Dr. Sabharwal on teaching our kids to be more independent and autonomous. I actually loved it the moment I saw it and knew it was something I wanted to share with you because a lot of these principles are things that I do with my kids as well, including giving them choices between options that are acceptable to you. So do watch this. There's some simple, easy tips of things you can do with your kids to help them feel more independent and like they have more control over their lives. I hope you enjoy this one.
Hi, this is Dr. Shwetambara Sabharwal. I'm a clinical psychologist and a psychotherapist, and I'm happy to share some of my insights regarding parenting with you today. Independent thinking and autonomy has always been a significant part of my parenting philosophy, not just as a therapist, but also as a parent. I noticed that often parents, in their quest to protect and help, teach and guide and nurture their children, land up doing all the thinking for their children and solving their problems. So today, I want to share some tips to help you help your children to become independent thinkers. The first skill that makes all the difference is listening. Without offering advice, without jumping into giving them solutions, without interrupting, it's important for us to listen. I'd like to clarify here, listening doesn't just mean absolute silence. You're most welcome to say, tell me more, to indicate honest interest in what they're saying, but do refrain from offering suggestions for the problem that your child is wrestling with. The second thing I recommend is ask questions. Other than listening, it's important for us to truly be curious, explore, allow children to process and express, and also get to know the way our children are actually thinking. It'll give you very interesting insights into your child's personality and thinking styles. Next, acknowledge and encourage. It's very important for us to acknowledge their effort, imagination, appreciate any initiative taken by them. For example, if my child is trying to clean up by herself, even though making a total mess of her room, I would still acknowledge and appreciate the initiative. The next suggestion I have is give and respect choices. As early as possible, start with this one where you give them choices for would you like to wear this dress or that? Would you like to read this book or that? Now here's the thing, I'm not asking you to give every possible choice under the sun. Limit them to 2 or 3 which are possible for you to meet, because once they make their choice, it's important for us to respect it. This gives them a very significant sense of autonomy. They feel responsible, independence, and they feel responsible for the choices they make. If they regret a choice that they have made, you can empathize with them, but do remind them that this choice was made by you, and this gives them a taste of taking responsibility for the choices we make. Don't fear disappointing your children. In fact, help them cope with disappointment starting early. Next, I have a very difficult one for you. Being patient. While they are struggling through their challenge, while they are working through the problem, it's very important for us to stand back and let them put the puzzle pieces together. Very often, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough energy. We just want to wind up the day and get things done. But in doing so, we may just prevent an incredibly creative and innovative idea that can help your child taste success. So stand back and watch them try. The next suggestion is break it down. Sometimes it's very overwhelming and intimidating for children to solve their own problems. While they hardly ever shy away from trying or failing in comparison with adults, it's important for us to watch their back and help them break it down. I would talk about how difficult it would have been for me as well and encourage some brainstorming with them. How do you think we can make this easier on you? So this weekend we've landed up with a lot of homework. Where shall we start? Helping them break down tasks will introduce strategies of problem solving. And the last thing in our quest to raise independent thinkers is provide enough opportunities. I have commonly observed parents taking the pencil from their child's hand when something needs to be drawn and they're taking a little bit of time. I've often observed parents taking the balloon from their child's mouth and saying, "Here, let me help you." While the intention is great, you're taking away the opportunity to solve that problem independently. Allow them to wrestle a little bit. Allow them to go over those speed bumps, those obstacles, and work their way out. Not only is this emotionally rewarding, but it's great for the neuronal connections in the brain. I'm a mother of two, and believe me when I say this, I understand how difficult all of the above can be. But from one mom to another, I can tell you this, that watching my kids solve their own problems, take responsibility for their actions, work independently, and become independent thinkers has been an extremely rewarding feeling. And I'd love for you to feel the same.